Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome to another Age of Mythology, the Titans Editor tutorial. And today I'm going to show you how to make a patrol in Age of Mythology. So, let's jump right into it. You might have seen the level 6 of Age of Mythology, the second part where you have the 3 heroes. They are roaming around the city of Troy, and there is a patrol formed by 2 Minotaurs or 2 Cyclops and some Hoplites, if I remember correctly. You could fight them if you want, but Arcantos said something around the lines of it would be better if we don't fight them now. So this is what we are going to do in this tutorial. We are going to have a patrol roaming around the city. Let's put some units. There is many shapes to a patrol. It can be a linear patrol, so the troops come from there to there in a line and they go back and forth. Or you can have a triangular patrol, a polygonal patrol, any type of patrol you want. So in this tutorial we are going to do a patrol for something very fast in order for it to see it faster and not take ages to roam around. So we are going to do a centaur. Now before we go into the triggers around the patrol, we are going to need to trace the route. Now you could use the trigger move to point, but I prefer to use cinematic block and move to unit. This way you can see the route more clearly when you are editing, and if you want to edit the level after a day or two, you would remember the trajectory of the route, so it is better to have cinematic blocks. Now let's jump right into the triggers. By the way, we are doing a triangular route if you have not noticed yet. The centaur is going to from there to there to there, etc., and it's going to be in a loop. So the first trigger is going to be a trigger with always and run immediately, and it's going to be the centaur moving to the first point, so it's going to be move to unit. The source, the centaur, and we are now calling the cinematic block, we are calling them waypoints. So this is the first waypoint. The centaur is going to move to the first waypoint. Now we could do it in another way, where we check if the distance to the first waypoint is less or equal than 3, which we are going to do later. It moves to the first point, but this method is a general method. So the centaur could not be in any of the waypoints. It could be in the end of the map. So this way it's more general and doesn't rely on precise measurement. So the centaur could be anywhere in the map, but he will still roam around the patrol route that we have created. Now we are going to copy this trigger, and I'm going to remove copy off, copy off, copy off, or else we will have 4 copy off. The number of triggers is going to be the number of waypoints plus 1 in our method. You could do it as equals the number of waypoints, but I told you that this method is not very reliable and I don't like it. So the condition is going to be distance to unit. We are going to select the centaur, and if the distance to unit is less or equal than 3, this is the target unit. So the distance to the centaur is less or equal than 3 of the first waypoint, basically means that he reached the waypoint. The 3 is an arbitrary number. You could configure it yourself. Try and test out some numbers. I found out that 3 is a standard number. If the patrol is formed by more than 1 unit, it would still work. So 3 is my number. You could do it less or more. It doesn't really affect much the experience. And we are going to select the source unit. It's already selected because we copied it. And we are going to let it move to the second waypoint. Now we are going to copy it 2 more times. We are going to remove the copy off, trigger to 70, and the condition is going to be the same source unit, but now we are going to see if he has reached the second waypoint, and if he did, we want it to move to the third waypoint. So this is the target unit. And finally, remove the copy off, trigger to 71. The condition, if he has reached the final waypoint, so show, this one is the target unit. And finally we want it to remove to the first waypoint. So this is the final target unit. If you did everything right, it should work. But if we now press play, the centaur will roam around, but only once. This is because I don't know if this is how it works literally, but I think when Age of Mythology execute a trigger, it deletes it from the memory. So they won't be executed another time. So this is only will work once. In order for us to make it work more than once, we want it to work indefinitely, you have to either you have two options. You could select loop there, and I think it would work, but I have not explained the second method, which is fire event. So I'm going to use in this tutorial fire event. So now we are going to do fire event. What fire events does, as you can see, it executes a triggers, but more important than ever, it saves the trigger. It will remove it from active, so we want when the center begins to move to the first waypoint, which is the trigger 269. So we are going to fire the event 269, and as you can see, the active is no longer checked. You could recheck active, but I don't recommend it for you. It will do the same thing, but it isn't how fire event works. And now we are going to fire event the second trigger 270. The 270 we are going to fire event 271, and in the last one we are going to fire event not the first trigger, because the first trigger basically starts the route. We want the trigger, the first trigger which moved from the first waypoint to the second waypoint, which is 269. We still want the first one to be active. So these triggers are not active, which doesn't mean they won't be executed. They will be executed after they are called. So in the first time we call the first trigger, which changes the second trigger and the third trigger, and the final trigger, the fourth trigger, will refire the second trigger, which will refire the third, fourth, etc. It will be a cycle. Fire event only calls a trigger when they are fired, when you use fire event. So the trigger won't be active, and you have to use fire event in order for them to work. If you don't have any fire event, the trigger won't be activated because they are not active. So if we delete fire event, they won't be activated ever. And everything should work now. Let's test Aspire 2 to see if he moves correctly. As you can see, he has moved to the second waypoint, the third waypoint, and now we see if it works, the looping. If it doesn't, it will oh, it works. For a second it gave me a heart attack. So it is clearly working. It's working and it's looping around, and it won't stop ever roaming until it's killed. Now if we wanted to attack while he is roaming and not only if he stops, you have to check attack move on. So they will attack you if they spot you. So let's bring Arcantos in and try to kill him. Yeah. So this is how it works. I saved you some time, Arcantos. Yeah, and this is everything you need to know about how to make a patrol. If you want to extend it further, you could add another waypoint. If you wanted to do only a straight line, you could remove the third trigger and do fire event to the second. This is the way it works. Remember, how many waypoints you add, you will have to do the number of triggers plus 1. So this is all I need to show you in this tutorial. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and comment if you have any question regarding the editor, and we'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.